Real quick, I'm Ben White with RCN Technologies. I'm the regional sales manager for the West, which is basically draw a line from Louisiana straight up to Canada and all the way to the border, right? So the ocean border, that is. So with me is
Jason Pipes. I'm the manager for our NOC Services, and I don't really know what else to say except for that. I mean, we are excited about this product and this line that we're developing, and we hope that you guys see just how much value this brings, not just to the work that you're doing, but just across the board. So,
yeah, no, absolutely. Don't let him be modest. This is a large part to his brainchild. So, looking forward to sharing what we're doing here and how we hope to help. For those of you in the OEM field, your customers, for those of you that are customers, how to help your organization, and those integration partners of ours, how we can help work together to provide the best white labeled service for support that we can, centered around Cradlepoint and 5G. So what is a NOC, Jason?
So a NOC, as far as a network operations center goes, serves a primary purpose of monitoring the connection and the connectivity from this 5G perspective of your devices, of your circuit, and keeping you up to date whenever there is an issue, whenever something needs to be remediated, or whenever there is a opportunity for us to improve your service and improve your quality of life for you and your company. So what we're going to do is we're going to monitor, we're going to proactively respond, and proactively respond sounds like a oxymoron, but we're looking for those opportunities for us to be able to step in and resolve issues before they become issues.
Yeah.
And then obviously there is a level of management that is provided as well. We're looking to update and upgrade your devices as needed, firmware, configurations, profiles, things of that nature. So
nice. Moving to the next slide, just as a cap to everything that Jason just shared, right? So obviously you guys know what it stands for. Simple terms, it's what allows organizations to have their networks and connected devices managed remotely. So the whole point of this is for those large, medium, and small enterprise and public sector, for that matter, organizations who either are thin on resources, non-existent resources with multiple people wearing multiple hats, or in the case where their primary objective is just keep daily business alive, right? They're working on tablets and laptops and phones that are going down. We're helping control and or manage that network side of the house that really ensures that you can focus on your primary objectives, and we help focus on the things. Sorry, Charles, you got me off guard there. Yes, we will share all of these slides with you for sure. But we're here to help support your staff, your budget, your time, things that would normally, go a different channel, go a different route. We're helping offload some of that non-day-to-day work, if you will, but still taking a daily, in real time, proactive response mechanism, foot forward. Anything to add there, Jason?
So the key thing here is not just where you're thin on resources or where you're limited on resources, but it's also the expertise of your team in the regards to not just their own circuits, but 5G and LTE aspects of this, cellular connectivity, switching between carriers in situations where you need data management or potential failover. So rather than just simply having IT individuals having to learn a new industry or learning a new aspect of the field, we offer the ability to support an area that is specifically where we shine and where our niche lies.
Yeah, so. And we've had NOC offerings via our tech lab for years, right? We have some of the highest qualified partner engineers and certified techs across the entire Cradlepoint ecosystem. Check our stats, not a lie, right? We were one of the top Mountaineer groups for Discover last year. Almost every single person that considers themselves either an engineer or a tech downstairs in our tech lab is certified at one point or another and is at minimum 5G certified. So the reason why we bring that up isn't to pat ourselves on the back for taking online trainings. It's that we take what we do with Cradlepoint extremely seriously. And every person who would be responsible for picking up the phone, be it front desk, sales, post-sale support with our NOC, every step of the way, you are encountering somebody that understands what Cradlepoint brings to the table and how we best can support you. So looking forward to working with all you all and then going through some of the offerings and the use cases. So is the service available for all CP device verticals, branch, IoT, mobile? The answer is yes, right? So with a qualified NOC service plan, and we'll get into what those plans are, and a Cradlepoint solution, doesn't matter if you have a 4G IBR 600 or an R1900 5G unit, or a branch router that's either or, right? Cat 7, Cat 18, 5G, Cat 20. We're there to support you. Just happens to be with FWA, fixed wireless access, and everything that's coming out on the market. What we have found is as people start to cut the wire, understanding how to keep that network up and the pathways to keep that network up, they're not the same as they were 2 years ago. It's different. Who you call, how you manage it, what the triage methodology is. Those are all different. And that's where Jason's team comes into play. Anything to add there, Jason?
No, the key thing I think there, as far as like just being mindful of the various use cases and the various devices, is what exactly your use case, what exactly your expectation is for the achieved results. And that's going to help as far as like packaging what we're doing to meet your needs. Is failover an issue? Is this a primary issue? Is it something that you're using this for a mobile application? In each and every one of those instances, it's going to alter how we need to alert, how we need to notify, and how we need to monitor your devices and your connection. So we can support them all, but I think that's only part of the question.
Right.
That's only part of the picture. The other part of the picture is what do you need? And knowing that information helps us to tailor this service specifically to what it is that you're needing in your use case.
Yep. So Nick, just like Cradlepoint's always being agnostic with how they deploy their services and their hardware, our solution is built around, it fits almost every customer need there may be. Now, there's going to be some situations where we may need to tailor or a la carte service, and we can take that on. But for the most part, there's not a single Cradlepoint in your current lineup that we sell that we can't help support. So how to leverage that NOC? This kind of goes to that same conversation. That's why I took a sidestep and answered that, Nick. Thanks for the question. All right, so how do we support? Well, for us, that support of your organization, of your department, of your small enterprise, large enterprise, we're helping across multiple ways, right? Like Jason mentioned, primary and backup internet, whether we are an FWA play, where we are actually acting as primary for a remote site or a large medium site, right? So we've got 50 to 150 clients. We've got VoIP. We have customers right now across the nation that are leveraging E3000 5Gs or public Wi-Fi with R1900 5Gs. We have the ability to act as that. Failover is very easy for us. One of our best foot forwards, just like Cradlepoint, initiated, if you will, their world into the break-in enterprise market with failover. Failover has always been a part of our pedigree as well because of that, and it's a part of what we do here with the NOC. Obviously, your cloud managed service and software, that comes included, right? So those folks who they know they need Cradlepoint, they've worked with guys like Nick and myself to deploy their Cradlepoint, but they're not NetCloud Manager dashboard admins. They don't want to be. They know they need it, but they don't want to be the one managing it. That's something that we can definitely help with them. Managed security and firewall, same thing. You may have somebody at Josie's Flower Shop who she knows Cradlepoint is the best failover or primary circuit for her, if you will, but she doesn't understand PCI compliance or how do we keep guest Wi-Fi safe and secure using CP Secure Threat Manager. We do, and that's where we come in and act as that overlay where instead of her hiring an employee at $40,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year to be her IT person, whether that's a part-time or full-time, for a fraction of that, they can come to Jason's team through our sales org and be able to deploy that for themselves, basically acting as their second set of hands behind the scenes. Anything to add there, Jason?
So the beautiful thing about all of that is our capacity to go through and modify configurations, assist with various sort of setups and things of that nature means that we have this capacity to be able to adaptively assist our customers on the fly, to be able to ensure that as their situation changes or their expectations change, we can be there to meet those needs. And in each and every one of those instances, that's really what you're looking for, is that capacity to be able to adjust for the customer at a moment's notice.
Yeah, agreed. So we've already kind of hit on some of this, right? But what we want to talk now is a little bit of that planning methodology. Okay, we just mentioned a couple of use cases on the fly. We just mentioned how we can be that support mechanism. But the plan, right? So our pro plan it's tailored to meet the needs of what we would consider the most medium, small, and large branch enterprise customers. That can also include folks on the government side, but that enterprise branch connectivity type solution. So it doesn't matter if it's government, doesn't matter if it's public sector or commercial. At the end of the day, that pro plan is more tailored to those folks with that large use case, multiple site, multiple client, multiple, even facilities if it's sites based. That Plus plan, comprehensive NOC coverage for any organization. So for that case, Plus truly is the Swiss Army knife. You want to talk about Plus for just a second?
I mean, we're gonna get there in a minute,
right?
So let's keep it moving, and then when we get there,
we'll
really get there.
How's for that? Sure. So and then the basic is the standard support and visibility. For the average customer that doesn't know anything about Cradlepoint or doesn't know about what how to manage their network via NetCloud Manager or just via the device itself, this is a method where they have tier 1 support at their fingertips, where they can call in with that issue, and we can help manage it beyond what the typical CradleCare call might be staged for. Really helping us leverage that customer relationship for a happy customer post-sale, but also ensuring that Cradlepoint assets on the CradleCare side, they're focused on CradleCare RMAs, focused on CradleCare warranties, things like that, and we're focused on uptime, notification, and then also just ensuring that customer has a up running network at all times. So here are the use cases, right? Which industries can take advantage? The ones that we're seeing most often right now. And again, we only launched live as of January 2nd, but we've been deploying, Tech Lab and then NOC Service Lite for a few months now. And who is talking to us on a daily about this is something I need you to add to my solution quote? Our government customers, education, and then also that retail restaurant, right? Your typical multi-site. I'm a restaurant owner. I'm an entrepreneur. I am not a technical person, but I need to ensure that my network doesn't go down, right? We have a customer, for instance, one of the use cases is they have multiple franchises throughout the nation. They have a small 3-person IT team. Most of those IT folks is my VoIP system working? Is my payment terminal working? They don't actually have that robust of a networking background, and that's where Jason's team comes into play.
So I think of it like bandwidth. How much bandwidth do we have? How much bandwidth do we individually have within our life to be able to handle things? And professionally speaking, we live in a world where the variety of needs and expectations increases dramatically. What we're seeing here is that we have this capacity to focus on the piece of bandwidth, whether it be governments and monitoring and managing the connection for them, or whether it be individual restaurants and retail locations where a loss of their service for even a little while could impact their revenue dramatically. We want to make sure that we're meeting each of these use cases exactly where they are. Maybe you have a business that's on the road and keeping that connectivity while you're mobile. Maybe you are focused on education and you've got this need to be able to keep up the connection even in a place that is remote or doesn't necessarily have the best service. That's really where we're going to be able to shine, is that capacity to be able to focus in on your connection and your connectivity and keep that off of your bandwidth and off of your radar so that you can focus on what you're here for.
Yeah. So, and then, Nick asked another great question. What redundancy is built in the RCM NOC? So, Nick, I'm going to take you down a rabbit hole because you asked, so I hope everybody else is prepared, but we'll give it our best swing. So, first of all, we're leveraging Cradlepoint, right? And everything that NetCloud Manager brings to the table. The customer themselves, unless it is a turnkey, we do everything managed service solution like our RTech deployment or something like that, where we're handling everything and all they have to do is take credit for it at the end of the day. Let's take that one off the table because that's a completely different sales model. That's an MSP model. And for most part, that's not going to be the majority of the NOC customers because all of our RTech and MSP sales, they come included with the NOC. So let's go to the normal typical customer. They have the same access to their NetCloud as they always have. We're not taking over access. So they have the same level of redundancy built in to NetCloud and their Cradlepoint deployment as they do today, as in when they partner with us. So if we're talking about redundancy and a failing over from traditional ISP over to cellular provider, that redundancy is still built in. There's a third level of redundancy that we can partner with the customer on, and it's a dual SIM leveraging this 2-slot SIM platform that Cradlepoint deploys across the entire ecosystem of IoT, branch, and mobile. So we would stick a second SIM from our RTech data partner in-house. That's our MSP side of what RCN does every day. And we would put that in as a second SIM slot for redundancy in case during a failover event or during a primary wireless event, your carrier of choice had some sort of issue. Local outage, SIM failure, data cap, whatever it may be, we have redundancy built into in a single pathway through a secondary SIM in that second SIM slot. So that's the first level of redundancy, and that's something we can stage.
And on that RTech data portion of it, we actually have a monitoring system that is actually built into that as well, that allows us the redundancy of not just being able to identify data issues, leveraging data caps, things of that, data management tools, but also allows us to see whether or not devices are online and whether or not they're online with that primary circuit or with our circuit. So we actually have a second layer of redundancy just built in on the monitoring that allows us to use the RTech data environment to sort of have a visibility of all this.
Right.
So,
and that is, think of it as a reserve fuel tank. We're not positioning it, to displace any carrier or something like that, right? We have the primary carrier on deck for a reason, but for our purposes, the ability for visibility, the ability to ensure that we have a pathway to that router, no matter what's going on in the local environment, be it network-based or be it actual, what's going on outside those doors during a storm or something like that. So we have that second SIM, kind of a reserve fuel tank that allows our team to access no matter what's happening. You would be notified, there would be an alert, there's all those things. And then we have another layer of redundancy, right? So the next layer of redundancy on the NOC side is leveraging that NetCloud manager for your alerting, for your active device management. If for some reason there was a disconnect between our NOC and your team, and our NOC during that time, there's a whole onboarding process, and we don't need to talk about it here, but we are your team, right? At that point, we are your employee, we're your contractor, we are your IT department in a lot of ways. So we are a part of that NetCloud ecosystem, no different than if we were the ones that bought the Cradlepoint ourselves. We're seeing exactly what you, the end customer, are seeing in real time. So the redundancy is this: if for some reason we lost connection, we have that second cellular SIM in there for that purpose if a customer asks for it. And then on the actual human intelligence side, Jason's team, if we see something go down, I guarantee your customer has seen that go down, and we are working in direct contact to either bring that up, schedule a ticket, or get a fix and resolve in place. Anything to offer on that redundancy of what happens if S hits the fan?
I mean, I think you've covered it pretty well. I do think the key thing here to keep in mind is that we're looking for multiple flows of information in, and we're monitoring multiple flows so that if we do lose access to a single stream of information or a single stream of data, we know exactly where the issue is from our other sources, and we're able to sort of monitor and adjust as a result of that. And then as far as the staff that are on board, we're actually managing this and manning this with multiple staff members and just being able to make sure that we've got this coverage for you going all the time, so that when you need it, it's there and it's ready to go.
Yep. And last thing, we're a Cradlepoint Elite partner for a reason. If you're thinking about NOC failover and what do we have to keep us online, we leverage the exact same equipment that we promote and sell every single day. So we have a W2005 on our roof right now. We have multiple W1850s ready to go at any one point. And I even think there's an E3000 down on the rack. So we've got 4 points of failure. And with Cradlepoint's, industry known less than 1% failure rate, Nick, I think we're pretty good on the failover here locally. And we have an offsite support team in the event something does happen here on deck. We do have the ability to leverage our offsite team to ensure that NOC integration is happening at all times. I hope that answered your question, Nick. So moving on, NOC service for the public sector, right? Just talking about that. It really has been a game changer for us. one of the things that we've leveraged and deployed for elections, right? Election teams are usually a finite group. Their key reason for being there on the IT side is to ensure tablet flow, information capture, all those things. They don't have time to focus and or worry about whether or not their network's actually performing as desired. That's where we come into play. And we actually provide a myriad of different levels of support for that, right? Everything from on-site, literally we come out, we're on deck for your customer the day of the election, all the way to Jason's team just being ready on-site here at the NOC, covering you for the duration of that election day. Anything to add there?
Well, so there are two parts to that, right? Knowing that you've got that connection, that you've got that network connection up and running, that it's stable is absolutely critical. But what happens when that does go offline? What happens when there is a carrier issue and we have to be able to just on the fly make sure that that secondary source of data is up and running and is connected, and you're getting that access as you need it. Not only that, but when your primary circuit does get restored and you do switch back over, like what options are available to you there as well. Or being able to identify immediately that, hey, there is something that's going to need to be done within the device. Are we going to need to reboot this device? Are we going to need to reconfigure this device? Having that remote access to do that with our team decreases the need for having on-site staff who are certified and trained to work on these devices.
Yep.
So.
Awesome. The NOC Services for Public Sector, there's a document there. Definitely click on that. We can make that available after the fact as well. But there's some quality information there.
No,
give me a
close.
second. Yeah.
There you go.
I was about to delete it for everybody, so it wasn't going to be accessible. Think of it as a personal assistant. We kind of talked about this previously, right? So we are your helping hands. We are our IT guy, right? Other than the basic platform, right, which is more of a tier one initial what do we do next type phase, everything else that comes included with the NOC, we're literally working for you as if we were on your team as an IT person. That includes data management, like Jason mentioned. That includes the warranty and RMA support. So instead of not that Cradlepoint has a hard or difficult RMA process, but there might be people that don't know where to go into the interfaces, and they don't know where to find IMEIs and SNs and all those pieces,
or just don't want to have to deal with that,
or the health check boxes that you have to go through when you call in. We take care of all that for you, right? Also, the instances of critical network downtime. We are actively in the trenches with you during a situation like that and helping manage that while you're managing your customer on site.
So what I want to say here is the customization of this is what's great, right? Some individuals are going to want to be notified immediately of an incident's occurrence. They're going to want to be able to receive a report on that immediately. They're going to want to be able to hear how it is that we resolve it, what our plan is, those kinds of things. But there are other individuals who they don't really care about the incident. They care about the resolution. We don't necessarily want you to report right now what's going on, but we do want to know when it's fixed, what it was, how it was fixed, and what we're going to do to prevent that happening again. And that's one of the beautiful things about designing a system like this, about having something that works the way you want it to work, is that you at the end of the day are going to get exactly the experience that you're looking for out of it. Are we alerting you to an incident? Are we telling you when things are happening live at the moment? Or are you looking for that sort of post-resolution response that we tell you, hey, this is what happened, this is the impact on you? And then also, in addition to that, just this idea of being able to report to you at the end of a period of time, hey, this is what we're seeing within your environment, and this is why that matters and how we can provide cost savings to you. Hey, just the concept that we're going to be able to adapt your devices and adapt to your connections and adapt your data, I think that's a really powerful component of this. It's a really powerful piece of this in a world where data potential overages constantly cause problems, in a world where carriers do have issues. Just being able to adjust and make adjustments there for customers, that's really beneficial. I will also say on those other two, though, that digital threat detection, being able to see intrusion attempts on your device, or being able to identify that people have been working to attempt to access your network, that's a really beneficial thing. And then the insights and analytics, really digging in and seeing how people are using your network and how often you're failing over. And it's also going to shine a light on your primary carriers if you're using this as a backup, or it's going to shine a light on really what your service is like in that area and how it can be improved based on carrier options and other things.
Yeah, true actionable data for how you want to manage your network moving forward. The last piece that I would share there is, and it's not on here, but that proactive management piece in today's employment market, if you will, finding folks that stay around, finding folks who are willing to go through the onboarding process and 6 months of training and everything that's needed to bring them up to speed on how to run a network. With our team, we've got a team of how many folks do we have on deck right now? Plus we've got our folks offsite as well. But I mean, overall, there's probably more than 15 people at any one time.
There is. I would have to go back and do the head count. Man, I wasn't prepared for that.
No, you're fine. But my point to that is even if for some reason we lost one person, if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, right, your account's not going to see a difference. Whereas what we have talked to many of our small, medium-sized businesses is just keeping staff on hand, having somebody who knows the network. We have people that we've done managed support tech lab NOC services before this new solution came out. We've been helping them manage their network for years. Our intention is to be a long-term resource for you and act as that guiding light in a lot of ways for a part of your everyday business that you might not touch every day as a business owner or as a deployment partner, but we are here every day to help support it. So from a small, medium-sized business, or even in a lot of ways, K through 12, government, education, we see people come and go every day. Our team's going to be here for the long haul, and we're going to be able to help do that at a fraction of the cost of what employing somebody and benefits and all that. And we're not here to get rid of anybody's job. Our point is, with the lean IT staff you have today, for a fraction of what it costs to try to go find a new employee, our team's giving you the same benefit and same support, if not more, day to day. So
back to that comment. It's about institutionalization and organization of knowledge. It's about taking the data that is needed and putting it in a way to ensure that there's longevity to its usage. And that's what our team is providing in this service, is that capacity to always have access to that. Whereas when you have staff member changes on site or at your location, there's always that potential that somebody is walking away and without handing off that knowledge correctly. And that's what we're offering, as a way to maintain that knowledge base for the long haul, not just for now or not just till the next staff member, but to be able to provide you that and offer you that for as long as you need it. So,
yeah. So I'm just going to scan through these real quick, because obviously you all know how to read, and check marks mean a lot. But I'm just going to put it this way. Basic is a very much so a canary in the coal mine. It is there to ensure that if we see something wrong or you see something wrong, that you have somebody to call into and that first line of defense, if you will. The Plus plan is very much more of what the average customer is going to need the majority of the time, right? It is it's the meat and potatoes of what we offer. I think the Plus plan really is our best foot forward. Basic is great for folks who don't mind handling everything once it's go wrong, but need support on that front end to figure out, okay, what do I do next? Is it a cradle point issue? Is it a client issue? Is it a cellular issue? Whatever it may be. Basic's great for that, checking the box and moving forward. Plus is that proactive management. It's that full-blown support model. And then Pro, in all honesty, from a sales perspective, and I'll let Jason kick in on from a networking perspective here shortly, but from a sales perspective, Pro is that customer. Doesn't matter if it's public sector or commercial. That customer that needs Pro services is somebody who really needs it to be a turnkey solution, who is basically hiring us as an employee via a service, if you will, to do everything that they would have somebody else on deck for at a different type of customer model. So that Pro is really that customer that needs us for everything. That Plus is your normal IT-based customer who just has, small, lean IT group that they're trying to support. And then that Basic is more of it fits everybody's need, but is more supposed to be that front line of support type model. Anything to add there?
So you used meat and potatoes. In my mind, Basic is like fast food. Look, you can go, you can get it. It's going to meet your needs. It's going to be good. But you can step up to Plus and you can have a good dining experience. And when you step up to Plus, you're going to have that selection. You're going to have what it is that you're looking for. At the end of it, you're going to feel like this was a good meal. But then you step up to that pro, and look, you're getting everything then, right? You're getting exactly what you want, exactly what you need. If you look at Plus, because I mean, back to Ben's comment about Basic. Basic is exactly that. We're going to watch your system. We're going to notify you of issues. We're going to resolve issues, and we're going to provide you what you need to keep online, what you need to keep working, and what you need to keep yourself from loss of revenue or the loss of actionable information, things like that. But when you get to Plus and you look here, Tier 2 support, you look at the standard incident response time. Not on there is a critical response time. Annual reviews to assess your service, to assess your needs, and make sure that what we're providing you is exactly what you're looking for, and then adjusting it to meet your needs. If we do identify something, or you identify something that could be done differently or could be done better. RMA facilitation and troubleshooting, going back to Ben's statements there. Anybody who has ever tried to fill out a warranty claim for a non-Cradlepoint device, anybody who's ever tried to fill out a warranty claim or got a service plan has oftentimes experienced the issues that come with that. What we're offering is the capacity to be able to say, you know what, you don't have to worry about that. We're going to handle all of this for you. We'll bring it in-house. We'll make sure if there are any other issues that need to be addressed or resolved before we send it off. Failover facilitation, just making sure that when your network goes down, we're providing you an immediate failover response, and then we're helping you fail back to make sure that there's not an issue there. And then the external device activation assistance. If you want to bring your own device, we've not been supporting you previously. We're going to help you get that enrolled and help you get that online with our system. And then device configuration updates. This one actually surprises me at the value of this one, because we do see this more often than we realize. The number of customers who they have in mind how they want to use this, they have in mind what their expectations are for it. And then after they deploy and after they're using it, it occurs to them that, hey, maybe here's an option we should have pursued, or here's a setting that we would like to have changed, or maybe we've redeployed all these and it's a big lift across multiple sites for us to go in and change the naming convention and update these devices.
Yep.
And what we offer is the capacity to be able to do that for you and not have to have that heavy lift on you or your team.
Yep. So. And the last piece I'll just add to that from a sales side, any integrators, any partners, any competition that might be on the call today, right? Something to keep in mind is, if this is something you think your customer that you've already sold and or deployed Cradlepoint to previously or doing now, we were happy to partner with you. We're happy to white label, white glove, whatever you want to call it, but we're happy to white box a solution to meet and work with you. So Nick at Cradlepoint, previous customers that bought through other people, this service is open to them. They don't have to buy the Cradlepoint through us. And then integrators, carriers, and other sellers who are on the call with us today, please understand, we're happy to work with you. This is a service we're offering to any Cradlepoint customer. And if that's to them directly or through you as a service, we're willing to work that out with you. And it's something that we already do today.
And there's definitely a component there. You mentioned integrators twice and all of that. And this Plus plan is going to ensure that when you've got these guys on site and they're working to get that integration completed, that we're on the other end of the line, making sure that everything you need from our team, everything you need from the device, everything you need from a data perspective is aligning with what it is that integrator is doing on site. Yeah. So it's going to get the highest level of support and cooperation that you can to make these things work together. And sometimes technology should play nice, and it just needs somebody to stand there like a dad and say, hey, straighten up, you two.
Right. So a couple of things on the pro plan we'll run through quickly and go to the next set of slides, right? Your incident response on the pro plan goes down to less than an hour, less than 1 hour coverage, right? So basically what we're getting at there is, if you have a specific customer who has no IT staff but needs to stay online no matter what, or if we're working with a government and or like a healthcare or something like that where we have to be online. We have a franchise customer we work with. If they are down during their lunch hour at some of their largest franchise sites in the Dallas metro market, they will lose thousands of dollars during that lunch rush. And then potentially, multiple, if that customers decide, well, maybe I'll go to a different one next time, right? So their loss of network is huge. And for us, being able to provide them, it went down, we are here, we're working on it right now. That's huge, right? Obviously, we can't fix everything with that because there's only so much you can do. But in a situation where it's something that it matters if it comes back online and within the hour, we're working on that right away. Hopefully, we've crossed the finish line with a fix and resolve. But the point is, we are working on it as soon as possible. We're also sitting down. This is the pro plan. We talked about being your consultant, your employee on deck, right? Every 6 months, we are working with your team to understand your network, how you're deploying their Cradlepoint device, what are your clients on deck, and we are working through you to understand that better, sitting down at a table or on a Teams call, whatever it may be, to ensure we understand what you need from us. Obviously, hot RMA hardware service, right? We're talking 24-hour turnaround, get you something right away, ensure that your site's back up and running. We obviously already talked about the device management, but the device change management, going from, let's say you have IBR 900 Cat 18s deployed today, but next year you need to deploy R1900s in your mobile fleet because 5G FWA was a better way for you to go. We are going to help walk you through what are the changes, what are things that you need to keep in mind, things like that. We are with you every step of the way. It's not a blanket coat.
On that one, I will say this also, and this comes up again more often than I think a lot of customers realize. When there is that change, when there is upgrades on devices, this makes me think of this. But one of the things that happens is existing configurations, existing profiles worked on a previous device and a previous model, but hey, does this still work on our new model? Is there a better way of doing this? We had this happen with a customer not too long ago, and we were able to do an evaluation and an audit of their configuration. And then when their new devices were deployed, we were able to have that updated and modified configuration for approval and pushed out to their group and ready to go immediately. So when you talk about ProPlan, what ProPlan is getting what you need exactly the way you need it.
Yep.
And that's the idea and the value of this is that, hey, you've got very specific, very unique needs as a customer, and you want this to be able to hit you and hit those needs specifically. And that's what we're looking to offer here with this ProPlan, is to be able to meet you exactly where you are in that situation.
So just one thing I want to make sure. So you keep talking about the network. Our job, or our modo operandi, if you will, is to ensure that the network is always on and being supported as promised. We are not a client device network center, right? We're not going to jump into your cameras and make sure that they're doing exactly however you set up your cameras to do, but we will ensure, is it connected? Is it passing traffic, right? We will notify you whether or not we see that we are connected to a certain IP, but that's with the Pro and Plus plans, right? So if we are touching tier 2 and tier 3, you have to understand all we're here to do is ensure that the network is operational. We are not going to get into SCADA management. We're not going to get into HVAC management. Our job is to ensure your network is on, your Cradlepoint's performing as promised, and that our team is ensuring that solid pipe to that internet is open as intended. Anything to add there?
I like to think of it like a banking app. Everybody uses a banking app now. Everybody has a banking app. And that banking app is fantastic for watching your money, looking to make sure that bills are getting paid, looking to make sure that somebody's not taking money out of your account or accessing your account that shouldn't be. There is value there for you as a consumer to be able to have that and have immediate access to that. And not only that, but to be notified by the bank when something suspicious is happening or when something is going on. And that's what this is, right? This is our capacity to be able to look at your network, your flow of data, your flow of information, and immediately identify coming into and out of your business, out of your location that, hey, there's a major issue here. And we want to be able to stay in front of this and address this so that you're not impacted negatively by it.
Yeah. So that goes into why partner with us, right? So partnering with RCM for your 5G deployment, we've kind of mentioned a lot of these along the way. So this is nothing new, right? But we are currently the only provider offering a dedicated 5G NOC service. Again, we will work with existing customers. We will work with existing deployment partners with Cradlepoint. We are here, this is our product, if you will, and we're happy to share it with whoever we can to help support those Cradlepoint customers better, right? We are one of the first Cradlepoint certified 5G installers. And if you've got W2000s, not only do we have a NOC service, we also have an installation service to help back it up. We understand these products front to back. We understand the training behind them. We understand the service offering behind them. And we understand what the roadmap is on what's coming. So one of the things like I really love about the Pro plan is when we sit down to talk to you about what's coming in the next 6 months, or what's coming over the next few years, that's from a basis and a foundation of we know Cradlepoint as good or better than anybody else in the current Cradlepoint ecosystem. And you can put us to task on that. We'd be happy to sit down and compare notes. I think you'd be highly impressed with the team that we have and what we can do on both our NOC, our service and sales support side, as well as our install and sales up front, pre-sales, pre-deployment. So
it goes back to going, you're getting a service plan for a product that you're already buying, a product that the team knows from the beginning to the end exactly what went into it, exactly how it's made, exactly how it goes together. So whether it's our install team, whether it's our provisioning and fulfillment guys, or whether it's my team, when you have that handoff throughout the process of this to see what is being done and what is going out, we're able to manage and maintain that because we know exactly how it was set up in the first place, and we aren't worried about having to go back and evaluate and troubleshoot issues. The key thing here is that this needs to be a conversation, needs to be a dialogue. We want to be able to make sure that what we're providing is exactly what you're looking for. So definitely, please reach out if you got any questions or you just want additional information on this.
Yeah. So we're going to go, we've got about 6 more minutes before we call this thing quits. We want to turn over to you guys. Nick asked a lot of great questions, made some great comments. Nick, I appreciate the engagement. Hey, Noah, next time we do one of these, let's invite Nick to guest star. He's been doing this longer than almost anybody. Him and I were in the trenches at Cradlepoint a long time ago, and would love to have him on one of these webinars to share some of his feedback. But with that being said, are there any questions we can help support you folks with? Noah, did any come in on your side of the house, sir? Okay, so a couple of questions I know we get all the time is, if the NOC basic plan is only $10 and there's only 5 or 6 additional check boxes that what we consider the plus plan, right? So that middle of the road, what we think meets everybody. People want to know why make the jump to plus. And in all honesty, I truly think that plus, just like advanced, yeah, it costs a little bit more. But when you put it in the idea of we're providing you a quicker pathway to resolution, we're providing you much more detail as far as how we're supporting you, and we are proactively engaging with your network instead of as a support call that you make. It's a support mechanism from us to you. We now are in the trenches with you, helping manage your network. Instead of overseeing things from afar, we're right there in there with you, trying to ensure that your network's running every single day. So that's one question we get all the time. Anything to add there?
Yeah. So basic is just that. It's standard request, standard style stuff. Plus and Pro are where you start getting customization to meet your needs specifically. Are we going to offer customization at the basic level? Yes. Some of that's going to be there. It's inherent in the service. But what happens when you take that step up is you really get a product that starts to become specifically what your use case is looking for. Not only are you getting that from the perspective of deployment, but you're also getting that on a regular review so that we can evaluate and maintain your expectations over the life of this.
Yep.
So.
And last thing I'll offer on the Plus service, I truly didn't. I didn't even see this, but one of the Plus service use cases that I saw was elections. I never even thought about the fact that on election night, an IT team that usually only has 1 to 2 people supporting them, on election night, they could have hundreds of sites across the city or county they now are responsible for keeping network connectivity up. And one of the things that we saw was integration of security cameras for keeping eyes on polling sites, polling tabulation areas, so on and so forth. And the Plus plan fills in that specifically. So it allows us to keep that overarching high-level support for you. And that's one reason why don't turn up your nose at the Plus plan. Let's talk about what you need, and let's direct you to the right solution to ensure that you are getting exactly what you were hoping for out of the platform. Truly appreciate you guys joining. If you could let us know in the last poll today how we did, and if there's anything we could have done better, let us know. Other than that, don't hesitate to reach out. We're going to be here for you.
Yep.
Appreciate the time today, guys.
Thanks, guys.